So we are very honored to receive Mr. Pierroberto FOLGIERO, who is the chairman of FINCANTIERI. FINCANTIERI, the largest shipbuilding group in Europe, and one of the survivors, I would say, because as we all know, shipbuilding has moved to Asia, and you still have a large number of shipyards, 9, if I'm not mistaken, in Italy, and others in Asia. You have one in Vietnam. So what is your view on the future of shipbuilding, and what is your strategy, given the fact that shipbuilding is now mainly no longer on our shores? And as we also know, you are not only in the military, but you are also very active in the civil sector, and especially in the cruise ships industry.
Thank you. Thank you for your question. Fincantieri is in 4 continents. We are from the far west to the far east, because we have 3 shipyards in the region of Great Lake in the United States. Then we are in Brazil. We have 9 shipyards in Italy. We are in Middle East in several countries. We have 3 shipyards in Norway, 2 shipyards in Romania, and then we have a large shipyard in Far East, all the way to Vietnam. So our perspective on shipbuilding is that Western countries progressively abandon shipbuilding. Along with the deindustrialization, in a sense, of Europe, in particular in certain heavy industry activities. Now the world is going for a kind of U-turn. So Western countries are realizing that shipbuilding is a strategic industry. And at the same time, the Western world is realizing that if you want naval shipbuilding, you have to defend civilian shipbuilding. So it is not that you wake up in the morning and you have the shipbuilding capacity you would like to have. So we are very focused on this moment. What remained in Europe is what we call complicated shipbuilding, technology-driven shipbuilding, complex shipbuilding. So ships that are not repetitive, but ships that need to be different one by one, and where the payload is much more important than the hull. So when the cost of the ship is 80% represented by steel, labor and energy, it went east. When labor, steel and energy are 20%, i.e. the payload is 80%, it remained in Europe. So that's our recipe. So first of all, to concentrate on distinctive shipbuilding. So we are market leader in cruise, but we are market leader also in specialized vessels for offshore operations, which today are very technological because they are pioneering the unmanned and the new propulsion systems of green fuels. And then naval. Naval is the name of the game. We are very focused, obviously, in strengthening and accelerating the program of our national Navy, the Italian Navy. We are very focused on US Navy, for whom we build the Constellation-class frigates. And then we are remarkably focused on the increase in the naval capacity at global level. So we are experiencing an increase in demand for naval assets. We are very focused on 2 markets, which represents the 2 quadrants that are overheated in geopolitical terms. The first is Middle East, because it's the natural market of any, I would say, ordered European player. And the second market is Southeast Asia, being Southeast Asia overheated because of the well-known Taiwan story. So we are very concentrated on Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam, Philippines, and countries that are enlarging their naval capacity. So this is the era of defense. Defense has to become more and more part of the ESG. You know the ESG story? We like to say that security is the second S of ESG. So security is a need for the public opinion, will be remarkably perceived as important. So we are very happy to be here in Euronaval, because in Euronaval you can find all the most important players. You can meet all at once all the most important stakeholders, and then it's also the opportunity to exchange ideas with the rest of the ecosystem.
And also, you have been active in the undersea construction, and now you have a new program to replace, not to replace, to supplement your submarine fleet with the 212 NFS, and you have all other projects in the undersea dimension, both, of course, in the military dimension, but also in the civilian dimension. Can you tell us more about your vision of the undersea and its importance in the future? We can see it with China, which is very active in deep sea exploration and the development of drones. What is Fincantieri thinking about this undersea dimension?
I believe that the underwater is what the space used to be 40 years ago. So it's a new domain, it's a new dimension in which the first acknowledgement is that the defense of critical underwater infrastructure is an underestimated threat. So the world is realizing that the hybrid war is a reality. It happened in the Nord Stream. It happened again with the Houthi attack to underwater cables. So it's a form of war that can be very detrimental without using bullets and without using tanks. So the first action is to accelerate on the new solutions to address the requirements of the defense of critical infrastructure. I believe that the Mediterranean Sea will play a key role, because the Mediterranean Sea is not the biggest ocean in the world, but it's the most congested in terms of kilometers of cables, gas pipelines, oil pipelines, electric fiber optic cables. And on top of it, there is the new frontier of the seabed mining and exploration for rare earths. And on top of it, there is the energy at sea, which means on the surface, on the water, and not only. And the Mediterranean Sea is at the same time a very geopolitical sea, because it's the sea of three religions, is the sea of many more Russian submarines, and let's see how many US submarines in the future to come. So it's a very congested environment. And we believe that there is a new underwater in front of us that is made of smaller submarines, drones of 9 meters, of 3 meters, manned and unmanned. And the ship is going to be a mothership able to orchestrate an underwater ecosystem. Once you validate these new solutions for the Navy, then the other idea is to take care of the adjacencies. The world is thinking of drones that are very versatile, very modular, and you can change the payload with a new payload that can take care of new missions. So that's the new underwater. To me, it has to start naval, but being already prepared to expand to the civilian applications. In Italy, we are launching the National Pole for the Underwater, which is a place in which we are joining together, gathering together big companies, medium companies, small companies, putting together the best available technologies, accelerating and incubating new solutions in order to serve our Navy, first of all, and Europe. There are new frontiers. The first frontier is the telecommunications, for example. I believe you know that underwater the traditional telecommunications are not working. There is no underwater Wi-Fi. Underwater is all about optic and acoustic. So you need to validate new solutions, as well as you need to validate new propulsion systems for the underwater, which is the frontier of the lithium battery that will enlarge the endurance. We in Fincantieri not only are participating to the national pole of Italy, that is in San Bartolomeo in Liguria, which is very famous for being the NATO Research and Development Center for underwater since the very old times. So the first sonars were validated in Italy in San Bartolomeo many, many years ago, well before NATO was established. So again, Italy is a source of innovation when there is a jump in the paradigm. And we believe another jump is going to happen and Italy will play its role again. Oh. We in Fincantieri, we are going for a number of alliances with key players, also in the industrial civilian underwater. So we are joining forces with Saipem, for example. It is a company very historic, very focused on the wellhead operations in the oil and gas. We are joining forces with another company which is called Capicattaneo, having the legacy of the special forces underwater assets from the Second World War. Oh. And on top of it, we are buying the underwater business of Leonardo, of our cousins of Leonardo. And this underwater business is made of sonars and torpedoes. We believe that sonar and torpedoes can be very well integrated in our submarines. And on top of it, we believe that those technologies can be used in the adjacent market, not the torpedoes themselves, but the engines, the acoustic heads. So we are great believer in the dual use of certain technologies. Fincantieri has long roots in the underwater space. We built in our industry 190 submarines since the beginning of the previous century. We used to export them all the way to Brazil before the big stop after the Second World War. In the last 25 years, we collaborated with Germany for our own air-independent propulsion system, which is made of hydrogen and fuel cells. In these days, we are moving into lithium battery.
Lithium,
So it's U212 NFS is the product of today. We are looking into a miniaturization of it. We are very interested in launching our 800 tons submarine, which is having basically the same, can achieve the same tasks of the U212, but being cheaper, being most agile in shallow water, having nevertheless 8 torpedoes, having all the suite of electronic warfare. So it is a project we are very focused in, but again, it is not all about submarines, it's about drones, it's about ROVs, it's about seabed operations, it's about having a mothership and ecosystem with a command and control that can orchestrate this new set of objects.
And in the current shipbuilding scene in Europe, in the defense sector, do you see further possibility of consolidations, or do you think that there are major obstacles which are still preventing a consolidation of that sector in Europe?
What a beautiful question. No, let me answer this way. I believe that consolidation is definitely a good thing, but there is something much more evident than the need for consolidation and much easier to do than consolidation, which is defragmentation. So if you compare the European system with the US system, you will see that we have a budget that is a fraction of US, and we have a number of platforms which is the multiple, which is insane. So before spending more, we should spend better. And the first thing to spend better is to share common cost. Recurring cost, non-recurring cost. So we should seriously take into consideration defragmentation. And if you don't share a naval platform, what are you going to share? Are you going to share a radar if you are not willing to share a hull? So I believe that European defense has a gate of seriousness, apart from being let me say, a commitment for an higher purpose. But European defense has a gate, which is how to procure that we go for defragmentation. What's the point in having the Italian platform, the German platform, the Spanish platform, the English platform, and then we want to optimize the naval expenditure? So on our side, what we are doing, we are collaborating with Germany on the submarines, and then we are collaborating with France on the surface vessels. We have a joint venture that is called Naviris, which was created a few years ago exactly for the purpose of sharing. This is the moment of the truth. So I don't know if consolidation will be one day online, but before that, let's pursue defragmentation.
Defragmentation. Well, just in conclusion, because we have only 1 minute left, but I would like to know what are, for Fincantieri, your main priorities in the defense market?
Again, the first priority is to serve our Navy and our nation in this acceleration, in the new domain, the new technological domains, including the underwater. Then obviously is to do it in a way that is compliant with European vision of the future. And we would like also to be somehow the driver of this movement of thought. And then obviously the rest is to get along with our geopolitical platforms out of Italy and out of Europe. This is again the era of defense. We want to somehow go through our geopolitical platforms in order to extend collaboration with new navies, with a great focus on US first of all, which is our historical client, but also new navies in Middle East and Southeast Asia.
Well, I thank you very much for this very broad and wide analysis.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Pleasure.